Yes. Well, hello. Where are we?
We are in Prague 7 in the Czech Republic, and this is a small park. It's called Tusarova Street, so it's like in the heart of Holešovice, which is part of Prague 7.
Very good. Hello, everyone. This is Robin speaking, hosting the Good Place podcast. We found a bench here in Prague, and as you heard, I'm in Prague. And thanks to a common contact, thanks Ashbeta, I got introduced to Jakob here. Jakob, how are you today?
Fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're comfortable and ready for this conversation?
Yeah, I'm still a bit nervous, but
Nervous?
no. I think I'm comfortable. Yeah.
I only briefly met you 5 minutes ago, but you seem to be quite talkative, so I don't think you're that nervous.
Yeah.
Why do you think Ashbeta introduced us to each other?
Alžbeta, she is very active in activities around senior citizens. Like she's also working as a researcher, but she was also in part of the team for a while in our social care organization, which is like a municipal social care organization. And I'm here in this district, like I'm an elected local politician, and I'm in charge of social affairs. So we definitely met like in all kind of initiatives. We were like, our town hall was initiating. We were trying to introduce like case management in social services, like to somehow systematically cooperate also between this social care organization and our social department. And so that's why yes, exactly. So now she's more in research at this point. She's soon going to join our housing commission because we wanted someone who is expert on elderly people. So we are somehow connected.
Very nice, very nice. And of course, there's much to say about Prague and of course this district, but for those who are listening and watching, who is Jakob? I mean, could you do a short introduction?
As mentioned, I'm now working here as a local politician, which is like a profession which came a bit as a surprise to me. I mean, like I didn't really aspire to become a politician, but it happened somehow because we were first of all, which is unusual probably for a local politician in Prague. I wasn't born in Prague nor in the Czech Republic. I was born in Germany, in Freiburg, but my mother is Czech, so I had some family contacts also to the Czech Republic or to Czechoslovakia. And my first 2 years in the Czech Republic, I was working as a volunteer. And in that time, instead of doing military service, it was possible to work abroad. I was doing also like work with elderly people of the Jewish community in Brno, in the city of Brno, and also for the Roma community. And I think these experiences very much like kind of steered me into certain directions, and I kept somehow going in this direction. So I was later in my studies, I was like studying urban planning in Berlin and also Eastern European studies. In the end, I worked on possibilities to develop Roma settlements in Slovakia was the topic of my diploma thesis, and in that time. Later on, like already here in Prague, I was also completing a PhD on a also Roma related and poverty related topic. And I was like for many years I was here already in Prague working as one can say as a researcher, independent researcher, doing all kind of policy related assignments. And in the same time I was kind of active as one can say activist I was like one of the founding members of a small organization at that time. It no longer exists, but it was called Prague Watch, and we were trying to describe kind of controversies around, especially around urban development in Prague. Like we were trying to map it on a like we were creating a map, which was the idea was to have something like a database of all these like scandals, because there were so many of the scandals, and it was very hard for citizens to not lose track of these developments. So the idea was to have it all on a website. Internet was still pretty new thing, and that time. But it was also for us very difficult to not lose track, because there were so many of these developments. So it kind of exhausted us at some point. So we were no longer able to continue with the with the website. It doesn't exist, nor the organization really exists anymore. But that's how I kind of came into local politics, because like here in Prague 7, there was like a very controversial local government at that time. Like this was okay.
No, sorry,
yeah.
no, a bit more like for those who don't know Prague.
Yeah.
So Prague is divided in different districts.
It's like 57 districts. It's just,
Not just a few.
Yes.
7 districts.
So they are like large districts, up to 100,000 inhabitants. We here in Prague 7, we have 45,000 inhabitants, something like this.
Okay.
But then there are also some districts which have, I mean, I think the smallest has something like 300, 200 inhabitants. So it's basically, some of them are former villages which were, the city was enlarged, but
Exactly.
like these bigger ones which have numbers, it's like Prague 1 till Prague 22. And Prague 7 is pretty much in the center of the city. Like there's Prague 1 is the very center, and then there are some surrounding districts, and the Prague 7 is one of them, with like a lot of like there used to be a lot of industry here, because there's the harbor, but so this changed a lot. Like now it's there's no industry left, and it's very rapidly developing. But then there's also like an upper part of Prague 7, which is like now it's very fashionable, but it always used to be kind of an art district, or with some museums and cultural scene. So that's Prague 7, yeah.
Is that so? The identity of Prague 7 is, or what's the aspiration with Prague 7?
I think like important in my view is that it's a very compact borough. Like it's also important for like political work, that you meet a lot of people on this. Like it's not very big, but it's very densely inhabited, and it's surrounded by the river. Like the river is in such a like a slope. It's basically surrounded from all sides, or from 3 sides by the river.
Yeah.
And so if you're, for example, we were like, when I became involved in these local politics in the beginning, we were trying to stop the government, the local government here, from building a new and very oversized town hall. So we were like collecting signatures before organizing a public vote on this, which is not so easy in the Czech Republic. You need quite a lot of signatures, and people are not used to this. But as it's so dense, and so if you like collect on certain like cross points, let's say, like you can really meet a lot of people, a large percentage of the inhabitants will somehow learn about you, which is like more complicated if you're in a spread out district where people do not like go all through the same street crossings.
Yeah.
So and we were like through this, like collecting signatures, talking to a lot of people. We were later running the elections, and since now for 3 elections we are in charge here of the like basically non-politicians who decided to run in the elections, and were in the end successful in really overtaking the government here.
Yeah. Because how long have you been involved now, and what has it been in the time that it was more activistic, and what is it in 2025?
Mm. So I think we are next year there will be elections, and then it's like 3 full election periods, which means like 12 years. So if we take a bit that, so let's say it's now 12 years if we include the time before the first elections where we decided to run, and like what we I'm not sure. You're asking about how the district changed or how the political scene
No,
changed.
I
Okay.
think the district.
Yeah.
Has it become like the Keats life? I mean, that's Berlin, of course, Keats, but
I think it always had a bit this feeling like it's very local, very also in a way community oriented. There's a lot of like active citizen groups, and we were trying to, with all our means, to support this. Like for example, by offering spaces, offering small financial support, and so on. But it's of course not only the town hall which foster such change, but it's also the people themselves who have I think they have quite a strong identification with this district. Maybe also because it's so compact and it's clear what is Prague 7. Other districts, it's kind of, they are an amalgam of various places, and people don't really know where they end, and so the identification is there not so strong with the district. I think what we were able to change is that we built a new town hall, or we made a beautiful reconstruction of a town hall, and I think we changed a lot the way the town hall works. Like I think it's for example, the people are much more like the employees are much more friendly than it used to be the case. Like I think the atmosphere is quite good, like and the attitude towards citizens is most of the time it's pretty good.
more citizens visit the town hall to connect to.
I don't know if there's more. Like it also depends, of course, what the reasons why people go to the town hall, and maybe some procedures can now be done online. So I don't know if in total numbers if it's
the function of the town hall.
but I think that like pretty often we have pretty good feedback by citizens that they were surprised that a town hall can be such a friendly place. Of course, it also happens sometimes that someone runs into some employee who isn't so friendly. You cannot. But I think and I would also say that in the beginning there was this, when we took over the city government, that in the Czech Republic there is a strong tradition of public employees to rather invent reasons why things are not possible, and not so much to find a way how to make it possible. And in a way, to the extent possible, like to somehow change this attitude, that we were, I think, quite successful in this. Like that there is a more pragmatic attitude, how okay, we want to do something, let's find a way how to do it, and not to invent many reasons why it's definitely not possible. And which sometimes it's really a Czech bureaucratic tradition to be able to stop almost everything, or to slow it
slow down
like in unbelievable ways. So
the mentality of District 7 is there's a solution for everything.
yeah, maybe not for everything, but we are working on it. That's in a way what we are trying to do. I think it also has to do, like, we are unlike all other big districts. First of all, we have now here almost 12 years of political continuation, and we have all the time a full majority, like absolute majority in the city council. So there's so it's much, let's say the political mandate is pretty strong, which makes it also easier to if you want to really push some change, while like if the politicians themselves are in conflict, and they cannot trust each other, then it's it's much harder than for example, one elected politician from a certain maybe smaller party to push really something, because he can always, if it's not successful or if their problems arrive, he can be afraid of his colleagues that they will make use advantage of this.
Yeah.
So I think we are in a quite unusual, in a way, very happy situation, like politically, that we were able to do so many things, and I think we did a lot, like to which somehow like changed the face of this district.
Do you also live in District 7?
Yes, of course. Like I need to live here because if you run for local elections, you need to live in the district where you run. Of course, there are sometimes cases of people who maybe in fact live somewhere else, so that they might live somewhere only on paper. But in my case, and in case of my colleagues here, we are all truly living here and have our kids in local schools and so on. So we are part of the community.
They already made an exception of you being German, of course, so
Yeah.
they couldn't come up with more. I mean, it's a tricky question, but it's always a bit like, these terms like bottom up versus top down. Of course, you're a politician. Do you also miss of being an activist, or you think it can be something you can be altogether?
Mm,
During the week, you're a politician. In the weekends, you're a citizen.
of course, like if you're part of also a political project, you might more consider what you say, in a way, like that you don't want to create also for your colleagues some political scandal, maybe with some harsh political opinion you might express or something like this. But otherwise, I don't really see it as such a big, at least like like we're here still on a very local level of politics, like the most local level. So like I was also for 4 years, I was member of the big city council in Prague, which is already very much like a like big politics in a way, like very much dominated by political parties and by conflicts between these. So it's actually very annoying, like to see just how much time is just spent with long talks by people who are not really looking for solutions. But it's I found that rather frustrating. Like the meetings, like the meeting of this assembly, or it's not the city council, but the city assembly. It started at 9 o'clock and it sometimes lasted till 5 in the morning or so, and most of the time just spent with like long, endless talks, which I wasn't very sure what's the exact purpose. Like it's
Win a role.
like it's also about like listening to by some of the politicians, that they listen to themselves about that they like to hear themselves probably, but it's quite isolated from reality, I would say. So here it's definitely much more concrete and much more
You see,
real in a way. So I wouldn't really it. Of course, it depends a lot what kind of activism, but also the political work can be pretty activistic. Like we were trying to lobby for certain also changes in law, for example. Like there are some connections to the higher level of to the parliament or so. And sometimes it's very useful to have these like local examples, like to provide also some input. So like in my, I don't really like see like maybe a bigger difference I would see between like research and making the politics, because like if you're a researcher, you're in a way more like a bystander analyzing things, while if you're a politician, then you're you're supposed to really change things and maybe you need, yeah.
What is yours? What is your personal motivation or ambition or goal? What gives you the fulfillment?
Look,
Yeah, of course, relate.
I think like if I compare it to other activities like or let's say jobs or professions I had in my life, I think it's probably the place where I can mostly like directly influence things for being in a way better. Like it's like I was also working in NGOs, that it was always like a huge thing was just the fundraising. Like so it's like after a while it's very desperating just to like I was the head of an NGO with like maybe 10, 15 employees at that time, and like just to like you have responsibility also for your employees, but also for the topics. Sometimes you're very like also
Distract you from why you
yeah,
an NGO.
and you're like also in a way driven by the or your activities are somehow influenced by what donors want logically, like so you're a bit like you're not like you're maybe a bit more independent than I don't know if you're more independent, but definitely like you spent a lot of time just in thinking about how to finance what you need to do, and sometimes it can be very stressful, also like personal stressful, like towards people who don't know if they will continue at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So like in a local community we have, or local municipality, we have definitely more stable framework for doing things, especially like if we have this like a political situation as we have here, so we can like if we want to do something, we decide something is really needs to be changed, like sometimes it's hardly possible to do from our position, but if it's possible and we agree on it, then in a few years you can really see it happen.
Yeah.
Which is cool, I think. Like
Yeah.
that's definitely something I like about this job.
It's something that makes you get up from your bed and start the day. Politician head aside, why? First question is, okay, why is Prague a good place? Then secondly, why is why is this District 7 a good place? And question 3 is, how would you define a good place?
Like Prague is I think it's a surprisingly well working city, like especially if you think how, for example, the administration with this like 57 districts and so on, sometimes it seems quite dysfunctional, like from a political point of view. But if you walk around, and sometimes I walk around with guests from other countries, then very often they are rather impressed that it's fairly clean, that it's actually I would say pretty safe. Yeah, in comparison, it's a pretty safe city. It has good public transportation.
Yeah.
So
People are nice.
People are nice. So I think it's quite a in a way quite a harmonic place. Like we have also big problems here, like especially with housing. I think that's. But on the other hand, it's something all big cities are suffering. But in this city, they really lacked and still lacking like a concept how to deal with the housing crisis, and the crisis is turning big, and I think no one knows how to react, and I don't see any bold attempts to do something about it. Like people say there should be more construction, but I think it's not only about supporting private construction, but also about public housing and so on. So but for those who have a place to live, like who have housing, then I think it's a good place, and of course it's also a beautiful town. Like a bit unfortunate. Like the city center, which is the most beautiful part, it suffers a lot by over tourism. So it's a place we rather tend to avoid a bit. So on these like most beautiful places, sometimes I haven't been for a very long time, because usually one it's a bit, that's like one of the bad facts, I think, that somehow the people of Prague learned to live without really using the city center as a central point of the city, because it's so it was given to the tourist industry, and it's hard to get it somehow back. Like, it's not the entire city center, but the very like the oldest part. It's I mean, there are some state institutions, and there are some places. There's also the town hall, but
said don't cross the bridge.
yeah, exactly. Like it's
Okay.
this is something not so. But if you ask about what is nice about Prague 7, then it's definitely like still very much a normal place. Like to I think it's a creative place with a lot of nice people who are somehow interested in the local community, who are like motivated to do something. It's still, I think, even though there's a lot of like also gentrification going on, but it's still a pretty like a big social mix. Like you see it in the schools, for example. Like there are really kids from all kind of social background. It's also a very like like also from architecture and urban spaces. I think it's a like it's actually a very nice district with a lot of like also interesting architecture, and it's surrounded by the river, which is something we, I think, more and more learn also to appreciate and to.
It's almost like an island, eh?
Yeah, it's like a peninsula, and like people start to learn again that one can swim in the river, for example, because it's now much cleaner than it used to be in communist times. So and we are trying to redevelop like the areas around the river into green areas, so that there will be like cycling infrastructure and so on. So now there is a pedestrian bridge to Karlin, which is a really cool thing. Like it's a very nice piece of architecture, and it's hugely popular because it's such a link, like a small link between two districts. Yeah, there's all kind of like
People
really
should come and check it
interesting.
out.
Yeah, exactly, but not too many of them. Yeah.
So how would you define a good place? I mean, we had this conversation before, like, of course, different ways. I mean, it could be something more personal. What a good place is to you. It can be something physical, but it can also be a state of mind or.
No, I think like I would probably start with that it should be a socially inclusive place.
Yeah.
Like, of course, like a good place can also be a mountain or like but if we're talking about cities or urban spaces or also regions, I think then it's really important that it manages to give all the people who are living there some fair chance of developing their lives. So which is like that the social conflicts which are always there, that they don't escalate totally, like that it's not dominated by like one like very rich strata of the population. That's, I think, is then
It also feels that it's something that also you very much care about.
yeah, it's like what I think what I
Find
somehow what I was like dealing with for many years. Then I think it's of course you need very basic things, like you need healthy air, you need good water.
Sure.
You need a climate where you can kind of function. Of course, like there are places where people are very used to very hot weather, places where the weather used to be not so hot. But like if it's suddenly turning very hot, it can be very dangerous. Like if especially if if you're not prepared in a way, or if you're running out of water and so on. So these are essential things which we also in a way need to think about for the future. Like if we want that these places should remain good places, like livable. And then I think it's also definitely about like economic opportunities. That it's like a like I mean all the beauty and all the maybe also all the integration will not really work if there's no like if there's no economic opportunities for people, which like is something which Prague offers, for example. But like there's always a demand for on the labor market. So from that point of view, I think it's a lucky place. Like in the Czech Republic, there are other places which are not so lucky, which is they are more suffering, like economically, and then also people are leaving. And then that's maybe the last point. What comes to my mind is like that, like it's a lot like made by the people who live there. So like if you have creative people, if you have talent, that all helps to make a place in a way better, like to be to yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like also like your sense of responsibility and community collectivity. Well, Jakob, we've come to an end of the show.
Okay.
I know we had a time frame, so I'm watching the clock here because you have to go to your kids, right, to school. Also very important people. Thank you so much for your time, for sharing a bit of Prague and a bit of District 7 and a bit of you and your own motivation and the importance on how we should be able to create more livable neighborhoods or boroughs. And I think it's interesting to see that you live in such a big city like Prague, where neighborhood, it has a different meaning than a neighborhood in the Netherlands, for example, where we talk more on city level. And this is a city in itself. Yeah, interesting. So I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
And
for having me here.
absolutely. See you soon on another bench in a new city with a new person. Don't forget to subscribe, like our channel, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And we'll be back soon. All the best. Bye-bye.